Hey, it's me, Marty Leonards, and we are backstage at Lollapalooza on a beautiful Thursday afternoon. It's Thursday, right? Yeah. Because last night was Wednesday, and Cage the Elephant played at Northerly Island, and they're not even playing the festival, but they're hanging out here, and they stopped by just to say hey.
Always do.
You always do. Matt, we have spoken to you backstage at Lollapalooza Bonnaroo more times when you were not playing the festival.
Yeah, I feel like we've hung out more like non-shows than shows.
Yeah, absolutely.
And by the way, last night was it was an extension of Lollapalooza.
Yeah.
Kind of was.
So we did play the festival.
Was it?
No, Matt said it wasn't.
You got me excited for a second because I love this festival so much that I was like, okay.
Well, you'd have to love this festival. How many times have you guys played Lollapalooza? Like 6-7 times, right?
A lot.
Yeah. It was the first festival we ever played.
Yeah.
2006 or 2007 we played the BMI stage.
Right. That's the introductory stage.
Yeah, and you know what? Lady Gaga played right before us.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
You know, you look at that is totally nuts. When you look at the BMI schedule and you see names that make there's no resonance, there's no recognition of any of them. But then it's like that, you know?
That's wild, right?
That's life.
Well, that's because we're all equally important, and that sometimes people are just put in extraordinary circumstances according to human standard.
All right. I'll go with that.
All
Yeah,
right.
that's exactly true. Last night, we were just saying you played at Northerly Island, the big tour that you're doing with Back and Spoon. Wow, what a show. What a show. Well, like, every band was just fantastic. And your set just killed. Man.
Thank you.
It's amazing how, it's not amazing at all, really, because you guys are such a good band, and we've been with you as you've grown and become bigger and bigger and played larger stages. But the command of that stage last night was terrific.
Oh, thank you. You know, I was battling a little bit with some feedback that was happening when I would get towards the front of the stage. I firmly believe that everything happens for a reason, so I just figured that for that performance I was supposed to learn something being confined to the stage. But yeah, it felt like a pretty a great performance, especially when at the end of the night I joined Beck during a song, and sometimes it's like the small little moments. That doesn't sound like a small moment. That's amazing, but one-on-one with one person, and the experiencing of joy in that moment, I was like, oh yeah, here we go. You know, like this is the big reminder. We go through struggles in life, whatever it is, to make the really special, important moments actually really special and important.
And you do that at every show, right? You come out with Back and you've been doing that. Is it different every night?
Yeah, the performances have been different every night. He's a similar type of performer, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Very intuitive.
Yeah. It's quite an end to the show. It really is. And right before that last night, Britt Daniel did Pump It Up. So it was like the bringing out people who are, you know, you're all on this tour together. Britt Daniel comes out, does Pump It Up, and then you come out and do the song from your record, Night Running, and it was just beautiful. Yeah, it was really cool.
It's been a blessing, honestly, just the way that everything unfolded with the track. And, you know, we sent that track to Beck on a whim. And within 24 hours, he had, like, the 2 verses that he had on there, and then he said he had 4 more. And we were so giddy that we never even listened to the 4 other verses. Like, these are it.
And he's such a kind man.
Yeah.
Like, really, such a kind man.
Yeah.
Music aside, we all know what a juggernaut of a creative he is, but as a person, he's very special.
He's been amazing.
Yeah, well, when you see him perform like last night, you know, and he has so many songs and so many different styles, and wow, it's just great to see all those songs performed live, one right after another, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, we grew up with Beck's music, and
Yeah.
it was a huge influence on us
Yeah,
when we
absolutely.
first started writing songs.
I mean, basically shaped the way that was what I wanted our first record to sound like. I was like, can you make it sound like Beck? So.
Well, Social Cues, man, we are playing so many songs from that record, and it just sounds so good. It really does.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I have to tell you, the Social Cues, the end of Social Cues, I don't know how many times I've been nailed by that false ending.
Oh. Oh, yeah.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah,
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's...
It actually, the first edit of that, it went a lot longer than that as well. The false end, it just kept going and going and going.
Yeah.
We cut it down for people's listening sake.
Yeah. It's kind of like life. Sometimes you think that it's the end, or death is finality, but it's really just the beginning of something new and beautiful. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, your performance last night, Matt, was, I mean, it's different every time, and your movement on stage seemed different last night than how I remember it from seeing you before. And I know that we talked when Social Cues just came out. We talked on the phone, and you told us about a style of dance that you were starting to use. Because I asked you a question. Yeah, I asked you a question about what do you do to work out, and you told us about the dance. Tell us about that dance, and that's what you're incorporating now into your stage?
Yeah, that, and also studied at the Lee Strasberg Institute for 6 months. But just being in the moment, being present, not so much as of a performance anymore, which was really nice to have discovered the dance at the time, at the juncture in life where we were going through so much. Because as human beings, we're building up these false selves or identities, layers of selves all the time. And when you're hit with something that's very traumatic, you're stripped of those things. And that art form allowed me to really confront a lot of things and slow things down and just be present. And so then when you have the explosive moments, they're so much more real. And yeah, so I think it's changed the show. It's going to be interesting to see how it continues to evolve. But I'm really excited to be in a place where I'm about to be 36 years old, and thank you God willing, not dialing it in, and just trying to be more present.
Yeah, well, you guys have gone through a lot in your personal lives recently with friends and loss, and yeah, it seems like you're really incorporating a lot of that into what you're doing these days,
Yeah, well, I try to do that because everybody thinks a lot of people think they're so messed up, and they hide it inside, and they have all these layers. That's what this guy is right here. And we isolate ourselves and think we're alone, but the truth is that I've got a new character and I like him a lot. He's called Gravity Man.
Gravity Man.
Gravity Man.
Gravity Man.
I love
Gravity Man.
I love universal
Gravity
laws.
Man, no gravity
universal
man.
laws. No. But the idea is that when a human stands upright, completely straight up, there's only one part of your body that actually has to touch the ground, which is your feet. If your heart could live in your feet and you could love that person, then you'd be in really good shape. And that's what I want people to see, is that no matter where you are in life and how many layers you're throwing up, whether you've curated yourself to the point that it's undetectable or it's very detectable, you're very lovable.
Well, that's great that you bring that into what you do on stage. And everything you do on stage, none of it seems choreographed. All of it seems totally spontaneous, and that is how it is, right? Yeah. When you go out into the crowd like you did last night, and we've seen you do that before, but man, you were out in the crowd after the show was over for seemed like 10 minutes, and then you ended up on top of the light standards, the light towers.
Well, flashback to the comment earlier where I said the feedback kept me from getting to the audience. At that point, I was like, I can't take it anymore. I'm gonna spend some time out here with my people.
It was pretty incredible. It was pretty incredible. I took a photo of it and I sent it to my girlfriend who's out of town. She wasn't here, and I said, "Look at this," and she just said, "WTF."
Well, I like to remind. I
Right
like to
before that, I was
remind.
like, please don't climb stuff anymore.
Well, I also like to.
Matt made a promise and he broke it.
I didn't promise anything. I told you I couldn't. I actually told you I can't promise anything. I said I'll try, but I always try to.
Make your big brother scared like that?
Yes.
How dare you?
No. It's very important for kids to know not to emulate or imitate, because I've done a lot of training.
Sure.
A lot of training, a lot of strength training, and a lot goes into it before you start doing those kinds of feats. And even then, it's very dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, guys who do free solos.
We
and
were talking
stuff.
about that just a few minutes ago.
Yeah. I mean, they're the proest of the pros, and they die all the time. So there's always that risk. But you know what's funny is I was kind of reprimanded for climbing towers a couple days earlier, and the night before last night's show, I didn't climb anything. I was walking across stage, and I do this thing where I fake trip myself, and I fall on my face. And I did it, and inertia followed through, and Gravity Man took care of it. And it was the actual first injury that I've gotten on tour. Split my eye open.
Oh
so.
my God! You did a pratfall on stage.
You
Yeah.
done that one other time.
I've never split my eye.
Yeah, we blocked our eyes at the same week.
Blacked it. I've never cut
Oh,
it.
really? I
Yeah.
cut mine, and then
Well,
Brad?
the fact
Whoops.
that the
Oh,
fact-
and he screenshotted who it was.
I didn't.
So now you'll have that memory forever. You should archive that.
Will you sign it?
Special
Well,
moment.
Electronically?
yes. Well, Matt, we're happy that you ended up getting off the tower safely last night, because if you know, Brad is worried about it, myself,
Yeah,
myself in the audience, like, oh no, Matt, what are you doing?
Well, yeah.
But you know, it's exciting, and it certainly makes for a show. If you have total control of it, and you know you're strong enough and you're safe enough when you're doing it, you know, Godspeed, man.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for stopping
Thank you,
by.
guys.
Oh, man,
This
thanks
is
for
so
having
great.
us.
What a surprise that you're just here and we could come and chat.
Great
Matt,
to see you.
Brad, Schultz from Cage the Elephant. You never know who's going to stop by. We're backstage at Lollapalooza 93 XRT.